They think the new villain hasn't been revealed yet. But what if the truth is, he already has been, and we just didn't recognize it? Everyone keeps asking the same question about power legacy. Who's the next big bad? Who replaces ghost-level danger? Who's powerful enough to stand in front of Tommy and Tariq and survive more than one episode? And that right there is the mistake. Because power legacy is not introducing a villain who stands in front of them, it's introducing one who already stands above them. See, the obvious theory is reunion first, conflict later. Tommy returns, Tariq follows. New York slowly gets rebuilt, block by block, body by body. That's what everyone expects. That's what power stories usually do. But power has never rewarded expectations. It punishes them. Look closer at the setup. Tommy leaves New York. Tariq survives college wars. Time passes. Violence burns itself out. Smaller crews rise, then disappear. But here's the uncomfortable question nobody is asking. Who benefited from all that chaos? Because cities don't stay empty. They get claimed. And not always by the loudest gun. While everyone was fighting for territory, someone else was busy securing something far more dangerous. Systems, money paths, supply chains, information access. The things street legends never protect because they don't even see them as threats. Tommy rules through reaction. He hits hard, fast, and loud. That's his power. That's also his weakness. Tariq rules through ambition. He wants control that looks clean, legitimate, respectable. And that makes him predictable in a completely different way. Now imagine a villain who understands both of them better than they understand themselves. Not a gang leader, not a family rival, not someone chasing reputation. Someone who doesn't need corners because he owns the route to the corners. Someone who doesn't need soldiers because he controls the people who pay them. Someone who doesn't show up to be feared because fear already works for him. This is why the word confirmed matters. Because the signs are everywhere. Crime moving too smoothly, arrest happening selectively, crews getting replaced without retaliation, money flowing without disruption. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens when someone is managing chaos instead of reacting to it. And here's where it gets uncomfortable. What if this villain didn't arrive after Tommy and Tariq returned? What if he was already there, waiting for them to come back and do the dirty work? Because power legacy isn't setting up a street war. It's setting up a trap. Tommy thinks New York is home field advantage. Tariq thinks intelligence gives him the edge. But what if the city has already evolved beyond both of them? What if the real villain doesn't want them gone? Yet. What if he needs them active, ambitious, and divided before he ever shows his hand? Because the most dangerous enemies in the power universe never announce themselves. They let you think you're winning first. So if the new villain is already controlling the system, if he already understands Tommy's rage and Tariq's ambition, if he already planned the city before they returned, then the real question isn't who the villain is. It's this. What happens when Tommy and Tariq finally realize they were never taking New York back? They were preparing it for someone else. Now, here's where the theory stops being just smart and starts getting terrifying. Because once you accept that the new villain operates through systems, not street wars, everything in Power Legacy suddenly makes sense in a way that feels almost too clean. Think about how villains usually enter this universe. They show power early, they kill someone important, they announce dominance. But this time, there's silence. And silence in a city like New York is never peace, it's preparation. While Tommy is wired to respond to visible threats and Tariq is trained to outthink opponents sitting across the table, this villain never sits at the table at all. He owns the building. That's why mid-level players won't matter anymore. That's why small villains will appear and disappear quickly. They aren't the story, they're signals. Every time Tommy clears a corner or Tariq stabilizes a business front, it looks like progress. But in reality, they're solving problems that were never meant to last. And here's the key detail everyone is missing. Replacements show up too fast. No chaos, no power vacuum, no retaliation. That only happens when someone above the entire structure is allowing it, testing reactions, measuring aggression, studying patterns. Tommy sees it as resistance. Tariq sees it as opportunity. But both interpretations serve the same purpose for the unseen boss: information, data, behavioral prediction. And the scariest part? The villain doesn't rush because he doesn't need to. He benefits from patience. While Tommy burns bridges and Tariq builds networks, the city slowly aligns into something more organized, more controlled, more profitable. That's not street logic, that's corporate logic. And that's why the rumors about an international connection don't feel random. The power universe has shown emotional families, ego-driven crews, and impulsive kings.
but it has never fully explored what happens when a disciplined, generational organization steps in quietly, one that doesn't chase territory, but infrastructure, ports, shipping, real estate, tech investments, financial pipelines, the kind of operation where violence is expensive and chaos is bad for business. And suddenly, the idea of a CEO-style villain doesn't feel like a stretch. It feels inevitable. This explains why law enforcement pressure might feel strange this season. Not aggressive enough to destroy everything, not weak enough to ignore crime. Just precise, just selective. That kind of balance doesn't come from corrupt cops alone. It comes from influence, from connections that existed long before Tommy ever thought about coming home. And here's the real confirmation hiding in plain sight. This villain doesn't want Tommy and Tariq separated at first. He wants them together. Two powerful figures returning at the same time creates instability. Instability flushes out competitors. Instability forces alliances. Instability reveals who matters and who doesn't. And while they're busy consolidating power, they're unknowingly doing cleanup, removing emotional leaders, eliminating reckless crews, stabilizing zones that were too messy to manage efficiently. Every enemy they defeat makes the city easier to control later. That's not coincidence. That's design. And once you see that, the relationship between Tommy and Tariq becomes the real battlefield. Because strategy and instinct don't coexist peacefully. Tommy reacts, Tariq calculates. One believes loyalty keeps you alive. The other believes structure does. The villain doesn't need to destroy them physically. He just needs to let their differences breathe. Feed Tommy doubt. Feed Tariq opportunity. Create situations where both men are technically right and emotionally wrong. Because that's when trust cracks. And once trust cracks, paranoia does the rest. Tommy starts seeing betrayal everywhere. Tariq starts seeing inefficiency as weakness. Small disagreements turn into street silence. Silence turns into independent decisions. Independent decisions turn into resentment. And all the while, the invisible hand stays clean. No shooters, no threats, just consequences. Bank issues, delayed shipments, allies suddenly unavailable. Pressure applied so quietly it feels like bad luck. And by the time either of them realizes something is wrong, they're already responding instead of controlling. That's when the villain wins. Not by beating them in a war, but by turning them into tools. So the real confirmation isn't a casting announcement or a leaked name. It's this pattern, this structure, this slow tightening of control. Because only one type of villain benefits from letting heroes think they're winning. And if that's true, then the most dangerous moment in power legacy isn't the first gunshot. It's the moment Tommy and Tariq realize they're standing on opposite sides of a plan neither of them designed, but is it already too late for them to stop playing the roles written for them?
And this is where the theory stops feeling like speculation and starts feeling like a warning. Because once the invisible villain tightens his grip, the story doesn't move toward explosions, it moves toward erosion. Power isn't taken from Tommy and Tariq all at once, it's drained from them slowly, decision by decision, doubt by doubt, until they don't even recognize the moment they lost control. This is exactly how a system-based enemy operates. He doesn't rush to expose himself because exposure creates resistance. Instead, he creates dependence. And the terrifying part is that both Tommy and Tariq are vulnerable to this in completely opposite ways. Tommy's weakness has never been intelligence. It's emotion, loyalty, family. The moment someone close to him becomes a variable, logic disappears. So the villain doesn't threaten Tommy directly. That would be sloppy. He creates confusion. Missing shipments blamed on trusted allies. Information leaks traced back to people Tommy would never suspect. Whispers that Tariq is making quiet deals to protect his own future. Nothing concrete, just enough smoke to make Tommy question everything. And once Tommy starts questioning loyalty, his reactions become predictable. He moves before thinking, he hits before confirming, and every emotional decision he makes pushes him further into isolation. Meanwhile, Tariq is being played from the other side. Where Tommy is fed doubt, Tariq is fed success. Doors open too easily, rivals disappear without resistance, money flows cleaner than it ever has. For Tariq, this feels like evolution, like he's finally cracked the code ghosts never fully solved. But that's the trap. The villain doesn't stop Tariq from winning, he designs the wins. Each opportunity pulls Tariq deeper into a structure he didn't build, but now relies on. And once reliance forms, escape becomes expensive. This is where the manipulation reaches its most dangerous point. Because now, Tommy sees traps everywhere. Tariq sees progress everywhere. One believes the city is turning against them, the other believes the city is finally working. Both are reacting to different versions of the same lie, and the villain never has to falsify reality, he just frames it. A delayed shipment becomes sabotage, a quiet arrest becomes strategy, a smart business move becomes betrayal. And here's the cruel genius of it all. The villain understands power history. He knows how Ghost and Tommy fell apart. He knows ideology is more powerful than violence. Street rule versus system rule. Instinct versus calculation. Loyalty versus structure. He doesn't need to invent a new conflict. He just reuses the old one and updates the setting. And just like before, both sides will believe they're protecting the future. A breaking point becomes inevitable. Not a shootout, not a betrayal confession, but an incident that can't be undone. A shared ally eliminated under circumstances that point in two directions at once. Tommy believes business logic sacrificed loyalty. Tariq believes emotional recklessness invited retaliation. Neither can prove the other wrong, and the villain stays invisible. From there, the city splits naturally, not by command, but by belief. Those who value loyalty drift toward Tommy. Those who value stability drift toward Tariq. Law enforcement pressure increases just enough to feed the chaos. Media attention frames the conflict. And while everyone watches two kings weaken each other, the emperor finishes consolidating supply lines, money routes, and political insulation. This is why killing Tommy or Tariq early would be a mistake for this villain. Death creates martyrs. Martyrs create chaos. Chaos disrupts systems. He doesn't want chaos. He wants predictability. Predictable crime, predictable leadership, predictable reactions, and divided kings provide all three. The tragedy is that when the truth finally surfaces, it may arrive as a realization instead of revelation. No villain monologue, no dramatic exposure. Just a horrifying understanding that every major move they made was anticipated, that they weren't building empires, they were stabilizing one. And even if they tried to reunite at that point, trust doesn't repair instantly. Hesitation replaces confidence, and hesitation is fatal when facing someone who never hesitates. This is the real confirmation hiding inside Power Legacy. The new villain doesn't need to beat Tommy in a gunfight or outplay Tariq in a boardroom game. He just needs time, because time is the one advantage emotional leaders never protect. And when they finally turn to face the true enemy, they may realize the city no longer belongs to them at all, not because it was stolen, but because it was redesigned around their weaknesses. So the final question isn't whether Tommy and Tariq can survive him, it's whether they can survive each other long enough to even try, or was that possibility removed the moment they stepped back into a city that already chose its emperor?